Hey, I'm back. Number 2, let's go. If you were president, what 2 things would you do? First of all, number 1, I would outlaw our foreign policy. Man, would you drink that stuff in the morning? Whew, I know why these old ladies that are 90, why they live so long. This makes you feel so wonderful. It's so much better than a cup of coffee. It gives you a good early morning buzz, and in Serbia you can do it without looking like a hardcore alcoholic. Eliminate our foreign policy and totally revamp our foreign policy. Prior to coming to Serbia, I always thought American foreign policy was right. If America said it, if they told me that we needed to go somewhere, it was because it was the right thing to do, okay? But it's not, okay? Jim Colburn, a Republican senator, not to pick on the Republicans, Democrats are just shit, but they asked him, this Joseph Kony, remember him, that guy from Africa that was recruiting or stealing children and making them kill their parents and all this stuff. This group came to him and they said, why won't America get involved in this? And Jim Colburn had said, America does not have friends, no friends. We have interests, okay? That did it for me right there. That made me realize, hey, when we came to Serbia in 1999, because supposedly the Serbs were killing and screwing with these Albanians and stuff, and I'm sure a lot of it did happen, some of it did, but when we claim that's why we came here, because they needed to be free, that tells you right there bullshit, you know. Rwanda, over 100,000 some people hacked to death, they were killing each other. USA did not step foot here, and that would have been the right thing to do, you know. United Nations didn't bother, you know, sent a couple troops, you know. People don't do what's right, they do it because there's interests there. And if Jim Colburn's words weren't enough, when you see now, years after the fact, when everybody forgets about this whole Kosovo bullshit, you see Madeleine Albright's spending hundreds of millions of dollars into the communications industry in Kosovo. Wesley Clark, the general in charge of NATO troops, him and his little interest group, they invested $100 million or so into the mining industry in Kosovo. What the fuck does that tell you? You know, do you need that info shoved in your face 24 hours a day to understand that we didn't do it out of concern, we did it out of interests, okay? That's why we do things. Ron Paul, he sees things totally different than I do on many, many issues. But he's right about foreign policy. He said, why are we going to Serbia? What did Serbia do to us? They didn't do anything to us. You know, it's all that. I would eliminate our foreign policy and totally revamp it, you know, and do something. The other thing I would do, I would cut defense spending. We spend 3 or 4 times more than any other country. We've got the biggest stockpile of weapons that are out there. Nobody can touch us. And I would spend just a tiny sliver portion of that to extend exchange programs throughout the world. And exchange programs are huge, okay? If we want to eliminate hate, terrorism, this bullshit with terrorism that they love to bring up to scare masses of idiots, the only way to do it is to get people to go there and to get Americans to go there to see how people are. Okay, when I first came to Serbia, I was under the impression Serbs hated me. They hated everything about America. They wanted to kill Americans, that they were evil, horrible, hateful people. I come here and I thought, holy shit, they're not. They're good fucking people. They're wonderful people. They don't give a shit if my country attacked them, or they do give, izvinite. I shouldn't say that. They care about it, of course, but they don't judge me for that. You know, so many of my friends and their parents, they say, I hate everything about the American government, but you can eat our food, you can drink our coffee, you can sleep in my house for a month if you want. You know, that's what you get, you know. You get good, wholesome people. Same with Americans. A lot of Serbians here, before they go to an exchange program, they look at the USA and they're like, Charles, man, I'm really scared. You know, I heard Americans hate everything about us. That they think we're evil, rapists, and all this stuff. And then they go to the USA and they stay a year there and they come back to Serbia and then they talk to me and they're like, damn, Charlie, Americans were so nice. I talked to Americans to my class about Serbia. They didn't even know where it was, but they're interested, they're friendly. They took me here, they took me there, they wanted me to stay in their home, you know. You know, you realize people are freaking people. Once you experience exchange programs and you experience other countries, you know, a lot of these older Serbians, older Russians, older Americans, 60, 70 years old, they're sold. They're done. They're not going to change their view on a Russian if you're an American. You're not, great-grandma's not going to change her view on Russians to learn Russians are good after years of being told that they're not. Same with the Serbian. They'll see this, America came here 3 years ago, or in 1999 for 3 months and bombed Serbia. They're not going to change. Little kids that grow up and hear that from grandma and grandpa, they're eventually going to say, hey, I went to the USA. The Americans were good. They were good people. They're just like me, you know. My mother, Mary, has the same view as every other Serbian mother that I know. She doesn't care about anything else. She cares about cooking food, putting it on the table, cleaning her house. She doesn't care about hating somebody. My dad, he's worried about paying his house payment, car payments, getting enough money so they can live, you know. That's the way it is. Governments love to dehumanize people. You know, our government in the United States, we like to label people terrorists, okay? So if your name is Mohammed, you're instantly a terrorist and you're evil, you're an evil person. Bullshit, you know. Sick, you know. So exchange programs are the solution, you know. Many Americans I know that came here, not just Americans, French, German, English, send me messages. I'm a well-known guy on the internet with Serbia. They come here, they said, before I came, I was terrified. I thought, man, these people, I'm going to a lawless country of evil, you know. And they come here, they're like, holy shit, these people were wonderful, you know. They were nice, they fed me, they treated me great, they didn't give a shit if I was French. And then my country attacked them in 1999. They didn't care, you know, they didn't care about me and our relationship personally. So those are the things I would do. Exchange programs are key to a better future. What do you think about Obamacare? I support Obamacare 150%. I think Obamacare is a big step forward. Every industrialized nation around the world has it, and has had it for years. Canada, England, the Scandinavian countries, you know, Norway, Sweden, Finland, all of them. The United States has problems with that. You know, my father went to the hospital for one night in an ambulance. His bill was over $12,000. You know, I think a government's job, sole job should be, the heart of a government should be to make the people live as long as they can, okay? That's the way I like to see it. And so a profit healthcare system is wrong, in my opinion, okay? Americans like to look around the world, and we're fed by our media, who the majority of the media is controlled by big pharmaceutical companies. You turn on the TV and there's pharmaceutical ads. So many foreigners that come to the USA, they'll turn on the TV like, oh my God, I was surprised. Every single TV commercial is a pharmaceutical about a drug. They said that doesn't happen in our country. We go to the doctor for the doctor to tell us what we need. We're not fed it on fucking TV. You know, people think it's crazy. And then Americans like to look across the sea in England, they're like, or even across the border in Canada and say, oh, well, they got to wait in line for 2 days to get a Band-Aid. Bullshit. You know, here in Serbia, if you break your leg, you know, you can go to the hospital and get it taken care of quickly. If it's a serious type thing, you can get it done immediately. The same healthcare levels, we're living just as long as Serbians. So if the USA, if we say, oh, they have terrible medical care, they're not as good as ours, Jesus Christ, look at the life expectancy. It's the same, okay? It's just that they don't charge exorbitant rates for things because they realize it's bad. In car sales, I worked in car sales for years. I took many people's credit reports. When you take their social security number, name, date of birth, run it through the system, it pops up and it says almost every single person I ran that has troubled credit, it's all medical bills, okay? They owe $50,000 to this hospital for this. They're not paying it. It tears your credit up. It forces people into bankruptcy. It's terrible. Obamacare now, if you had a pre-existing condition with your heart or something in your family, you quit your job, you go to a new one, they will not insure that part. That part's cut out, you know. Now Obamacare forces every insurance company to cover it, which they should, okay? Also, kids that just graduate, go into college, that stay in college, their insurance company is forced to cover that, and forced to cover that for them until, you know, as long as they stay in school up till 26 or 27 years of age. Huge, you know, great thing. Gay marriage, what do I think of gay marriage? I support gay marriage 150%. I think if my neighbors here are two women that are in love or two men that are in love, it's none of my goddamn business. I can look over and think, oh, I think it's gross. But who can I tell them they can't be together? For God's sakes, man. You know, I dated black girls. Many white people are like, oh my God, why are you with this black woman? That ain't right. What about her kids? What about your kids? Don't you fucking worry about my kid. Why don't you worry about your hillbilly fucking self? Worry about your own goddamn kids, man. You know, I just don't get it. It's not the government's job to tell people who they can be with, and it's not religion's job. It's a personal level for religion. You know, the United States is not a Christian country. We're a country that's dominated by Christians, yes. But we have Muslims, we have Jews, we have Hindus, we have atheists. Everybody has the same right. It's not the government's job to take these biblical views and force it on the masses. No. That's if you're with another man or you're with another woman, that's your position with God. You need to straighten it out with Him. I don't want somebody telling me what God thinks of me. I want to ask God what He thinks of me, maybe, right? So I think it's silly, and I support it. I voted for it. And here in Serbia, that doesn't go that way. You know, Serbs are very, very conservative people with that. So I disagree with Serbs on that. Gun control, last question. What do I think of gun control? I support gun rights. I'm from the middle of the USA. I was raised around parents that loved guns, that had guns for protection, for hunting, for different things. My father's very against gun control, you know. I was raised this big, how to shoot a gun, how to protect the household. Dad showed me where we kept a loaded handgun, and if somebody broke into our house, to shoot them, okay? But I think people need to be, gun lovers need to be inconvenienced if it's going to save one life. You know, the whole world looks at the USA and they're like, man, when is this country going to learn? There's another mass shooting, 15 people dead. You know, do they not care? You know, and I have a hard time defending that too, you know. I think we should wait for a waiting period to check me, my family, my stability, and all that before I should get a gun. You're never going to solve all the problems, and I do support people having a gun for protection. I don't know what I feel about those stand your ground laws down in Florida. I think a lot of them are being overused. I think if somebody breaks into my home and they're not supposed to be in there, I can kill them. But I cannot go outside of my home and kill somebody. I think that's silly and ignorant, but I do support a right to own a gun. Go Virginia.